it's a huge challenge for
Yeah.
me. Parenting has been one of the most rewarding journeys that I've ever been in. It's also very difficult. It's one of those things I try to explain to people, many young parents and people who are thinking about becoming parents. Like, imagine making the biggest investment in your life into something that doesn't necessarily do what you want it to do.
Hmm.
That's what a parent is. And for me, I remember early, I think I may have told this story before. There was two things that I wanted to do as a parent. My dad had been beaten by this system, beautiful black person who had just been beaten by the system, this society. And it prevented me and him from really embracing one another. So one of the things that I wanted to do as a parent is I wanted my kids, before I leave the earth, I wanted them to be very well aware of who I was as a human being, because I think children forget that their parents are people. They're just people. You think your parents, you put them on pedestals or you put them below pedestals, whatever, but they're just people. So I wanted my kids to know who I was as a person. But then most importantly, how I got there is I never wanted to lie to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like if I was lying to them or I wasn't living my life in the manner in which I was instructing them, then what am I really doing? So that was kind of like my borders as far as being a parent. Now, in this world, my job, I think, is to hopefully provide them a pathway or a blueprint or a roadmap for them and their other family members of their age group to navigate in this world that is not better. A lot of people like to think, oh, this world is a better place for my kids. It's not a better place for my children, and they're not going to necessarily have this easier route. So my goal is to at least give them the information and provide them with the information, or give them a way to put as much information in their head to figure out this journey, because they're going to need it in this world. So that's been my practice. They've been with me from day one. At the time we had children, I had been in business for myself 2003. So about time our first kid came around, I had been in business for myself, I believe, 2 years. And they've been with me in the combine from day one. I like to think they're paying attention. Kids pay attention. They listen, but they really pay attention to what you're doing.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm hoping that they're paying attention in the combine and the legal practice and the design and in the political things that we're involved with and the world, so that they can become citizens of the world and of their community, and people who are willing to sacrifice and have courage. I remember I got in an argument with some young lady online one day. I said that if one of my kids grew up to want to be president like Obama, I would feel like a failure.
Mm.
And, I could have said it, you don't have a lot of characters on Twitter sometimes to explain certain things, but she was offended by that. And I was very serious, because I would feel like a failure if my kids grew up to want to be the leader of the American empire, as opposed to someone who understood that their journey and their purpose of Black radicalism and intellectual thought and fighting should be preserved in challenging these empires and these systems, as opposed to being a part of them. So it's a work in progress. Still a work in progress.
Yeah, my internet connection went out for a second.
Okay.
But, um, challenging these systems as opposed to, yeah,
Getting along now. Your
right,
job should be the challenge. But imagine if you took Blackness out of the American experience, or Black radical thought out of modern Western world experience. What would we have? We would have no pushback. We provided the pushback. Our experiences provided the pushback. Our adversities provided the pushback. Our successes have provided the pushback. This isn't the time to put our feet up and relax. Like, we have work to do. You know, we have work to do.
Yeah. My overarching thing I wanted to get at was like, are the efforts that you are trying to build with the Brooklyn Combine, do you see it playing out in your home, right? Because
Yes.
one of the things I wanted to hold up was that, you know, we have a lot of celebrated Black leaders that did a lot in the world, but like their kids, they weren't around. They were out doing stuff in the world, so they weren't around with their kids.
Yeah.
Or we'll have these debates about, you know, should this person represent Black leadership if they have like this type of, you know, home life? Like, how do you balance both those things? And so
that's tough, man. I mean, that's a tough, you know, step. Stephen, you know, I don't know really how to do it, because it's not like I saw my parents do it. It's not like I saw elders in my community do it. Sometimes when I think back to my community, America has torn my community apart. So a lot of my energy and a lot of my edge is the anger of dealing with that. And sometimes, you know, you miss your mark. I'm the same way all the time. I'm the same way with my children as I am with you, as I am with my clients, as I am with some judge. Obviously, the relationship I have with my children is, you know, there's a love that drives. You know, what I try to do often is, sometimes when I'm coming, I take the time, particularly my oldest, to explain to him, like, listen, I'm doing this not out of trying to embarrass you or to be that, you know, so much of human relationships is an exhibition of power. I'm not trying to overpower you. It's coming out through love and through experience, because I know what this journey is gonna tell, and I know the challenges you're gonna have. So a lot of it is being myself, but taking the time to explain a little bit more so that they understand. But you know, I'm hoping that they get it, because, you know, we've had conversations. I overhear things sometimes, and I see it seeping through. You know, ultimately, is what a brother told me. He said, time will tell. You know, time is going to tell. And I know I have to be consistent. I think you lose children when you're inconsistent, and you're not committed to your truth. You lose them. And I'm hoping to keep that doorway open.